the 25th anniversary of Kevin Costner's much-beloved baseball movie, Field of Dreams. This Sunday, there will be a celebration at Fenway Park. Fans are invited to bring their dogs along as they take in a minor league game, followed by a screening of the film on the dreamiest field of all.
If you build it, he will come.
As you may recall, Kevin Costner, a.k.a. Ray Kinsella, gets the word, if you build it, they will come. He built it, a baseball field, mowing down a portion of his cornfield despite the fact that he faced eviction for non-payment of his mortgage. Players from the disgraced Chicago White Sox, including shoeless Joe Jackson, appear out of the cornrows. Among them, the fictional John Kinsella, who died a penniless drunk.
Is this heaven?
It's Iowa.
Iowa?
Yeah.
Could have sworn it was heaven.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
All right, well, earlier today, I spoke with Dwier Brown, the actor we just saw portraying Costner's father in Field of Dreams, and he told me how meaningful the role was to him and why it inspired his book, aptly titled, If You Build It. Dwier, you talk about how you were inspired after the movie. 25 years later, people were still coming up to you and talking about the relationship between their father and what they felt from that final scene in the movie. So that inspired you to write a book.
Yeah, I mean, I'd always wanted to write a book, and for some reason it just occurred to me like, well, this is a story that probably only I can tell. You know, I had sort of assumed at the time that people came up to Kevin Costner and Tim Busfield and James Earl Jones and told the same stories, but I think if you run into those guys, you have more to talk to them about, you know, all the other great movies they made. But with me, people remember me from Field of Dreams, and they just tell me the most outrageous stories of how that movie changed their lives, and I thought, wow, that's a story I should try.
Give me an example of one of the stories that somebody told you.
Well, one that sort of happens over and over again is people say that they got in a strange relationship with their father, haven't spoken to him in 15 or 20 years, and they go see that movie and they drag their father. You know, sometimes they don't want to go, but they sit down, they watch that movie, and somehow, you know, seeing that, they realize how foolish it is to sort of hold that kind of animosity and kind of, you know, spoil a relationship that should be a, you know, a key relationship in your life, and they just manage to put their bygones behind them and start their relationship over again. I've had people change careers, they've told me, because of the movie, just something that it clicked in them about feeling like the job they were in was something that their father wanted them to do, and now their father's gone, and so they want to stick to it because they said they would, and realize that their dad doesn't want them to be unhappy. They want them to be doing what makes them happy in their lives. And so, you know, it's amazing to me the connections people have made between that movie and the effect it could have in their own lives.
Now, that's your father's glove.
This is my father's glove.
What kind of relationship did you have with him?
Well, my dad was a great dad, and but as a teenager, as I think many of us do, we just have that time where we're, you know, it's the Oedipus complex. We've got to be making ourselves our own man, and so we reject their ideals, and, you know, they have to be wrong and the sort of the bad guy. And, you know, my dad did nothing to inspire that. Fortunately, you know, unlike Ray Kinsella, I got a chance to make my peace with my dad before he died, and it was, you know, I'm just very grateful to have had that opportunity. But there's so many people out there who don't get that opportunity. My dad died suddenly just a month before we shot that movie, and, you know, dads die suddenly. Everybody, it can happen to anybody, and to have had that opportunity to kind of let him know what a great dad he was, and that, you know, that a lot of who I am is because of him, was a rewarding moment for me.
What are you grinning at, you ghost?
If you build it, he will come.
God.
What is it?
It's my father.
So you've talked about taking your own son back to the field that they built for the movie. What was that like?
It was really cool. I sort of hadn't anticipated that. Now, my son's not into baseball. He's a good baseball player, but he doesn't play it competitively. But to go back there, you know, he's 15. That was 10. I made that movie 10 years before he was even born. So it's kind of out of his, you know, awareness. So for him to come back with me to the field and see, you know, the other cast members and all the people who the fans of that movie who were actually in the movie as extras was, I think, just kind of, he's like seeing his dad in a whole new way. And you know, that was rewarding to me.
Could this movie or this kind of inspiration that came out of it been done about any other sport, or did it have to be baseball?
Well, I think it lends itself to baseball because baseball is such a kind of a slow game. It's a contemplative game. There's all this space between pitches where all kinds of strategy is being made and then, you know, countered, and I think it mirrors a lot in the way that we are with our fathers. For many of us, I could talk to my dad about work, maybe about my car. All the other soft feelings in between those things were sort of off limits. There's just no context for that. And so I think baseball is a similar thing, that there's a lot unspoken in the game in the same way that there's a lot unspoken in our relationships with our fathers. And so I think that was a perfect parallel that W.P. Kinsella made when he wrote the book, and that Phil exploited, you know, adroitly in making the movie.
Is there a heaven? Oh, yeah. It's the place dreams come true.
What's your tour been like? You and your wife have been traveling across the country in an RV, and you're in Fenway Park. You'd also been in Little League parks and minor league parks. And
it's just been fantastic. I mean, I can't tell you what we've been I mean, I just finished the book like 2 months ago, and we were sort of on the road before we even knew. I've never written a book. I didn't even know what a book signing looked like, you know. So to take it to ballparks was kind of this novel idea, and we've seen some great minor league games. We've had, you know, just people come up to me and share their stories just the way they happened in the book, which is just what I'd hoped from it. We were in this Winnebago that was just fantastic, and we were staying at KOA campgrounds, and, you know, we'd get to go canoeing in our downtime, and we went horseback riding, and the next day I'd be at a book signing and hugging someone and crying about it and playing catch and throwing out the first pitch. I mean, it's just been a crazy whirlwind, and to be in Fenway is, I mean, you know, where the part of the movie was shot is just kind of crazy. My sister lived in Boston for 15 years. I've been to visit her many times. I never came to Fenway. So this is the very first time I've been out here, and even that's kind of miraculous that movie 25 years ago would somehow end up bringing me here today. Is, you know, that movie has just had a lasting legacy for a lot of people out there, but particularly for me.